Perfume passages, high-quality niche fragrances, exciting brands, and hidden gems. Today, we're talking about fragrances that allow men to create a unique atmosphere in the summer. As temperatures rise, the rules of perfumery change. What's considered opulent and seductive in winter can quickly feel overwhelming in the height of summer. Heat intensifies a fragrance's projection, accelerates its development on the skin, and makes heavy notes seem even more dominant. Molecular volatility, skin chemistry, and sunlight alter not only a fragrance's intensity, but also its structure. Top notes fade more quickly, base notes emerge sooner, and imbalances become more apparent. This is precisely why summer fragrances reveal a perfumer's true mastery. It's less about volume and more about control, transparent layering, diffusive molecules such as ambroxan or ISO-E Super, and natural citrus oils combined with synthetic enhancers that ensure longevity. Added to this are modern raw materials such as cologne derivatives, mineral accords, or reinterpreted leather facets that are deliberately airy. Citrus zing is combined with mineral accords, aquatic facets meet precious woods, and floral nuances can add individual accents. Extreme heat above 30 degrees Celsius, often combined with high humidity, calls for a specific fragrance strategy. Under these conditions, classic perfumes often do not perform optimally because the compositions quickly come across as heavy or cloying. Or they are too fleeting and soon become barely perceptible. Certain ingredients are therefore best suited for very hot days. Citrus notes, such as bergamot, grapefruit, or lime, have a physically cooling effect. Aromatic herbal notes, such as basil, mint, or lavender, enhance the feeling of freshness and cleanliness. Aquatic and ozonic molecules create a sense of airiness. Fragrances based on ISO-E Super or ambroxan remain present without feeling heavy. Light notes of vetiver, wood, or tea provide a foundation, depth, and elegance. The hotter it gets, the more the focus shifts. The best fragrances for extreme heat aren't the most spectacular ones, but rather those that consistently stay true to their vision. One particular summer fragrance seems somewhat contradictory at first glance. It floats in the air without being intrusive, long-lasting, yet never heavy, full of character, yet not overwhelming. The 8 creations presented here are not merely summer companions, but statements that showcase the wearer appropriately for any occasion, sophisticated, distinctive, and uncompromising. Vertus, Eau de Cyan. The first fragrance comes from the unjustly overlooked perfume house Vertus, which offers many exquisite scents. The name Eau de Cyan can be decoded as follows. Cyan represents the color of a clear, almost surreal sky or tropical water, a visual metaphor for purity and coolness. In the printing industry, it is one of the 4 primary colors from which all other shades are mixed. Traditionally, the brand does not disclose the perfumer, similar to Xerjoff. The fragrance profile is aquatic green with an emphasis on its mineral spicy character. The composition opens with strong aquatic notes as well as cypress, galbanum, and sage, supported by a subtle hint of grapefruit and an aldehydic freshness. Instead of slipping into the predictable, a mineral floral heart quickly emerges with gardenia, jasmine, and a note of seaweed, a chord reminiscent of salty air and the ethereal quality of the raw, untamed sea. This is where synthetic molecules come into play. While they are rarely explicitly listed, they presumably include ambroxan derivatives and ozonic components. The base features elegant woods, soft cedar wood, patchouli, oak moss, and likely cashmeran, which lends the fragrance stability without making it feel heavy. Its balance is its greatest strength. Eau de Sion feels natural, refreshing, barely sweet, and not fruity. It bears a distant resemblance to Nishane Ig and, to a lesser extent, to Roja Elysium Cologne, though it is more understated, straightforward, and less opulent, yet with a clear direction, like an ocean breeze. If you catch a whiff of Eau de Sion in the air, you wouldn't guess it's a perfume. On the skin, it is gentle, yet distinctly noticeable. In the air, it reveals its strength and generously scents the surroundings. It's aimed at men with a penchant for minimalism and understatement who prefer a clean, fresh scent that comes across as professional, unique, and not too overpowering. Ideal for business meetings in the height of summer or stylish getaways by the sea. This fragrance is one of the few that performs confidently even at temperatures over 35 degrees. The dry down remains wonderfully controlled, never veering into the synthetic. The performance is very good for this fragrance category. Longevity, 7 out of 10. Sillage, 6 out of 10. Eau de Sion is priced at about $250 for 100 milliliters. Although it has been on the market for several years, the fragrance is relatively unknown, making it an absolute hidden gem. Nishan Wulong Cha. Nishan, based in Istanbul, has emerged in recent years as one of the leading houses in modern niche perfumery. Wulong Cha is among the Turkish brand's best-known creations and was developed in 2014 by Jorge Lee and Murat Katran. The name refers to oolong tea, a semi-fermented tea that falls between green and black tea in flavor. This note forms the heart of the composition. The fragrance family is citrus tea-based with a musky, woody base. The opening is radiant and extremely precise. Bergamot, orange, and Litsea cubeba, a citrus fruit with a slightly green character, provide a very natural citrus freshness. Shortly thereafter, oolong tea emerges as the central accord, dry, slightly bitter, with subtle warmth. Unlike green tea fragrances, this one feels more mature and structured. As the fragrance unfolds, a gentle depth develops through fig, musk, and soft woody notes. The transformation of the scent is very well executed, with everything blending smoothly together, from zesty to calm to, later, intimate. Wulong Cha conveys a wonderful sense of balance and harmony. The standout feature here is definitely the well-executed note of oolong tea, which is rarely found elsewhere in this quality. Added to this is the rare note of Litsea cubeba as an alternative to the usual citrus notes. The result is an exceptionally realistic freshness without any synthetic sharpness. Wulong Cha is loosely comparable to Bivulgari Thé Vert, which has a much simpler composition, or Maison Margiela Tea Escape, which is less precise and develops somewhat haphazardly. In contrast, Wulong Cha remains significantly more structured in the dry down and is much longer lasting. It's one of the few fresh fragrances that, once sprayed, actually lasts all day. Longevity, 8 out of 10. Sillage, 7 out of 10. Ideal for business meetings, travel, and simply for warm days in the city with a relaxed, elegant summer wardrobe. The price is about $240 for 50 milliliters. Incidentally, the X version of the fragrance offers barely noticeable improvements. It's a bit smoother and doesn't last quite as long. Amouage, Portrayal, Man. Amouage stands out like no other brand for its opulent and unique compositions. Since 2019, Portrayal Man has been one of the brand's exceptional fragrances and is a true experience, especially in the summer. Created by Pierre Negrin, one of today's most renowned perfumers, the fragrance is part of a collection inspired by cultural eras. Portrayal means depiction or portrait. The idea behind it was to capture an olfactory snapshot of the rebellious, artistic movement of the 1920s. The fragrance belongs to the aromatic green woody fragrance family. What stands out is the central role of violet leaf absolute, an ingredient that is rarely used so prominently. It creates a metallic green freshness reminiscent of damp leaves, spicy flowers, and even, to a slight degree, ink. This is supported by vetiver, which isn't dominant, but rather intertwines with the floral, ethereal notes. Unlike classic summer fragrances, Portrayal Man completely forgoes citrus notes, like eau de Sian. This creates an intellectual, aesthetic aura that is more reminiscent of an art gallery and an opening reception than of the beach. Nevertheless, it exudes a wonderful coolness combined with its tart floral character. It can best be compared to Dior Fahrenheit, though Portrayal Man is significantly edgier, livelier, and hardly leathery at all. Ideal for urban summer evenings or cultural events. It's suited for men who don't seek to please, but rather to make a statement. Very fitting, for example, for art collectors, architects, or creative directors at agencies. The performance is outstanding. You'll definitely get noticed. Longevity, 8 out of 10. Sillage, 8 out of 10. It retails for about $350 for 100 milliliters. Atelier Materi, Burgundy Ode. Atelier Materi is one of those understated, thoughtful brands that consciously position themselves with subtlety. Founder Véronique Le Bihan pursues a consistently material-focused approach. The raw materials are clearly at the center, their facets, origins, and transformation. Burgundy Oud is one of the most impressive examples of this philosophy, and at the same time, a paradox in the context of a summer fragrance. The name evokes two worlds. On one hand, the French region of Burgundy, synonymous with great wines and elegant fruitiness. On the other, oud, one of the most complex and exclusive materials in perfumery. The composition was developed by Marie Hugon Tobler, a perfumer known for her understated signature. Olfactorily, Burgundy Oud belongs to the woody oriental fragrance family. Instead of the usual resinous quality, the oud here comes across as surprisingly transparent, almost silky. This is made possible by a white wine accord, slightly sweet yet tart, which counterbalances the heaviness of the oud. The grape note is particularly intriguing. It doesn't come across as overtly fruity, but is subtly integrated, flanked by saffron, cedarwood, and a musk base. Saffron is used very sparingly here. Fortunately, it does not become dominant, but rather complements the dry, fruity character. In comparison, Burgundy Oud is vaguely reminiscent of Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Oud Satin Mood, though it is significantly less opulent and lacks the sweet, rosy heaviness. There are also similarities to Byredo Oud Immortel, though Atelier Materi comes across as more elegant and precise. This fragrance is aimed at connoisseurs seeking depth without having to submit to its intensity. A scent that demands a second look, one that reveals its uniqueness more and more over time. Ideal for warm summer evenings, upscale dining experiences, or intimate occasions with intellectual depth in a sophisticated setting. The performance is top-notch. Longevity, 8 out of 10, with a suitable, not-too-strong sillage rated at 7 out of 10. Burgundy Oud is priced at about $280 for 50 milliliters. Roja, Burlington, 1819. This Roja fragrance is a prime example of citrus aromatic luxury perfumery. Inspired by London's history, it combines tradition with modern sophistication. Named after the London address, Burlington Arcade, one of the world's oldest luxury shopping arcades, the fragrance references the year of its opening, 1819. As is customary for the brand, the composition was created by master perfumer Roja Dove himself. This classically inspired fragrance, with its distinct citrus aromatic profile, combines wonderful freshness with rich depth of detail. The top note is an explosion of the finest citrus oils, lime, bitter orange, and grapefruit, exceptionally realistic and high quality. The tart, fruity character is extended by unexpected elements, including tobacco nuances and a very light rum accord, which add warmth and texture. Additional notes include ginger, as well as hints of tobacco and cashmere wood, which lend the fragrance a multi-layered evolution. It is comparable to classic citrus fresh scents, yet Burlington 1819 is more complex, less overtly pleasing, and significantly more mature. If you're looking for classic refreshment in the style of an aftershave, but with a refined and extraordinary twist, this is the fragrance for you. The fragrance is aimed at experienced wearers with a classic sense of style who wish to preserve traditions, are open to new ideas, but don't feel the need to follow every trend. It's perfect for business trips, business meetings, or luxurious daytime events. Even at temperatures above 35 degrees, it's a good choice and reliably accompanies you throughout the day. Longevity is rated 7 out of 10. Sillage is rated 6 out of 10. A 100 milliliter bottle costs a hefty $475. Gritti, Supernova. With Supernova, the Italian brand Gritti once again demonstrates its boldness in exploring unconventional fragrance concepts. Launched in 2024 by Luca Gritti, this creation dares to translate the atmosphere of outer space into a perfume. The result is not a crowd pleaser, but a distinctive niche fragrance that plays with mineral, metallic, and ozonic facets. Instead of relying on citrus or fruitiness, Supernova transports you to a metallic, shimmering, and ocean-fresh olfactory world. The high-quality bottle features the luxurious design typical of the Ivy line, underscoring the composition's avant-garde character. The perfume's name refers to the massive explosion of a star, thus capturing the idea behind the fragrance. Right from the first few minutes, mineral notes, artemisia, and green pepper create a cool, sharp opening. The impression is reminiscent of an algae-scented sea breeze meeting cold mineral rock. The freshness feels dry and almost mechanical. At the heart, the fragrance develops in its true direction. Ozonic accords are underpinned by light oud. This combination gives Supernova a fascinating tension between coolness and depth. The fragrance remains hyper-modern without feeling overly synthetic. It evokes associations of clean metal, cosmic emptiness, and futuristic film scenes. In the base notes, it softens slightly without losing its characteristic cool core. Cashmeran provides a subtle woody warmth, and amber adds a velvety undertone. The metallic signature remains present right through to the finish, giving the composition its unmistakable character. The fragrance feels less like a classic perfume and more like an abstract scent installation. This gives it a high recognition factor. There are certain parallels to fragrances like Mega Mare and, above all, Ganymede. The mineral metallic core concept and the futuristic aura share similarities. The only element missing from Supernova is the leathery note. Instead, it relies entirely on its oud-ozonic heart note, which makes it seem fresher and even slightly more experimental. This is a fragrance for men who seek individuality without coming across as too extroverted, and who wish to subtly underscore their individual, postmodern style with the scent. Despite its freshness, the fragrance has good longevity and a distinctly noticeable sillage. Longevity rates a 7 out of 10. Sillage rates an 8 out of 10. A 100 milliliter bottle is available for about $300. Tiziana Terenzi, Rosso Pompeii. Tiziana Terenzi is known for expressive fragrance compositions. The brand, led by perfumer Paolo Terenzi and his sister, combines Italian sensuality with an almost Baroque exaggeration of raw materials. The fragrance pyramids read like a best of selection from their respective genres. Rosso Pompeii is a representative of the fruity woody fragrance family, imbued with Italian opulence. In typical Terenzi fashion, the scent unfolds powerfully and confidently, even at high temperatures. Its uniqueness lies in the interplay of sun-ripened fruits and warm, mineral woody accords that evoke volcanic landscapes. The fragrance feels like a stroll through southern Italy in the summer, intense, colorful, and passionate. Its name refers to the ancient city of Pompeii and its volcanic history near Mount Vesuvius. The opening is an intense blend of exotic fruits, particularly a juicy grape. Unlike many fruity fragrances, it doesn't veer into banal sweetness. This is due to a warm, mineral-rich base and the tart freshness of the fruity notes centered around grapefruit and Amalfi grapes. These are combined with floral notes such as jasmine, lily of the valley, and tuberose on a base of sandalwood, with amber and musk serving as enhancers. This combination creates a fresh, ethereal effect with plenty of punch from start to finish. The fragrance shows little evolution. Only the floral and tart fruity notes subside slightly over time, revealing the woody base. It is vaguely comparable to Sospiro Vibrato or Ex Nihilo the Hedonist. Rosso Pompeii feels more linear and focused on its tart fruity theme, which is reminiscent of a rosé wine. It's the ideal fragrance for extroverted personalities who wear luxury not subtly, but in a deliberately visible way, and generously share their scent with those around them. Perfect for long summer nights, rooftop events, or beach clubs. It actually lasts until the next morning, scoring a 10 out of 10, and its sillage is party-ready at 9 out of 10. Rosso Pompeii costs $395 for 100 milliliters. Spiritica, Yuzu Yakuza. Spiritica is a young avant-garde niche brand where both the fragrances and the bottles are of the highest caliber. The name of the new fragrance, Yuzu Yakuza, combines the citrus fruit yuzu from the rue family with the name of the Japanese mafia. The composition belongs to the citrus aromatic family with an unusually urban, almost brutal clarity. The opening is uncompromising. Yuzu combined with Japanese sudachi, similar to lime, radiates maximum brightness while being sharper and more bitter than classic bergamot. Unlike many citrus fragrances, this note doesn't feel warm and Mediterranean, but rather cooling and invigorating. After just a few minutes, a metallic mineral accord emerges, presumably created by modern molecules reminiscent of ozonic and aldehydic structures. This effect evokes an atmosphere of concrete, rain on asphalt, and glaring neon lights. Added to this is a gentle cherry blossom note, which gets somewhat lost in this layer. Speaking of which, the stated fantasy note of gunpowder is clearly recognizable as light and smoky, even more so than in Xerjoff Dawn, and blends wonderfully in the heart with the citrus, which skillfully balances it out. The base is more minimalist, featuring dry mahogany and cedarwood along with an ISO-E-like transparency. This is where the fragrance's discipline shines through. No unnecessary clutter, no warmth, no sweetness. Everything fits seamlessly into the overall concept. Also noteworthy are the 3 different bottle caps, which are assigned to orders at random. The side, featuring the koi and the fragrance's name, engraved in yellow on a black background, is always included. It varies only slightly. The back features a different classic Japanese pattern each time. The fragrance is most comparable to Comme des Garçons 2 and its metallic avant-garde character, and to a lesser extent to Bulgari Tigar with its citrus notes and molecular base. However, Yuzuya Kuza is significantly rawer and more striking. This fragrance is suited for those who are consciously seeking alternatives to classic feel-good scents and want to exude an aura of adventure and fearlessness, ideal for summer in the big city and creative professions. The performance is subtle and controlled. Fortunately, combined with the extravagant scent, it isn't too strong. Otherwise, it would be too much. Longevity, 7 out of 10. Sillage, 6 out of 10. 50 milliliters costs $250. Those were our 8 recommendations for summer 2026. Have fun trying them out, and see you in the next passage.